Well, hello and welcome all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land. This is Texas Special, and I'd like to welcome you to the Texas Special YouTube channel. For this July 2025 HO scale product review, we're going to take a look at this Athearn 57-foot mechanical reefer. As you can see, this one is lettered for the Western Fruit Express with the Great Northern Railway herald. This, along with two others, came from a friend of mine here in the Beaumont area, a gentleman by the name of Stephen Barkley. You may or may not have seen his layout featured on the channel. If not, I'll throw a link in the description or somewhere on the video so y'all can go and check it out. Gentleman and a scholar. He has a very impressive Northern Pacific / Burlington HO scale model railroad that is set in his home country of Wyoming. And yes, I know it's a state, but I mean, if you've ever been there, it's like a whole other country. I misspoke, Montana. Anyway, back to the business at hand. This is a fairly newer model. It's not a current production model. It's not the current production model, but it is essentially the same tooling. The first thing you notice with this car is there is a fairly decent amount of separately applied detailing, which is par for the course. Now, the reason that Stephen parted with these magnificent looking models is because his hard cutoff is 1970, right before the Burlington Northern merger. And every single one of these cars has a build date after 1970. Every single one that he gave me. So they didn't really fit his era that he was going for, and while they looked nice, they were just languishing in a car storage box underneath his railroad. He didn't like that. Neither did I. So what we ended up doing was doing an even swap. All those 50-footers, all those 50-foot mechanical reefers that you have seen in the early days of this Stars Hollow Railroad, those are all gone. Those all went to Stephen. So those are all on his railroad. They fit his era a whole heck of a lot better than these guys ever did. So he now has cars that he can use that are, for the most part, decent cars. I believe they were all Athearn Blue Box models, and he's got loads of those running around on his railroad. So here on the B end of the car, you can see, well, this side of the B end of the car, B end, all the way around, you have this half ladder that's separately applied and a stirrup step here. There's also a second stirrup step right here. You have the bars, the rods rather, for the camshell locks on the door that are separately applied. You have the door latch mechanism here that is separately applied. You have the door stops right here that are cast onto the body. You have this nice see-through grill right here on the A end of the car where the actual generator for the refrigeration unit would be. You have another half ladder, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is actually a separately applied uncoupling pin here, uncoupling lever rather, obviously non-operational, and you have a stirrup step right here. The trucks on this thing are the appropriate 100-ton roller bearing type trucks. Now, as you can tell, they are plastic. They do have the roller bearings, they do have the springs, they have all the important details there. And you can see from this silhouetted shot that there is actually a fair amount of underbody detail on this car. And that was my assistant director, Charlie, throwing his commentary in, saying that this has been a fun, these models have been fun. You can see a separately applied air hose right here, which you'll see it a little bit better here in a minute. Looking at the roof of this car, you can see it has very nicely done paint, silver paint to simulate the galvanized metal roof. You have this separately applied and see-through, yes, separately applied and see-through, brakeman walkway, which in 1970, this thing would have been on borrowed time with the demise of the brakeman right around the corner on Class 1, well, all railroads in America, as far as through freights goes. You can see these little ridges here along the top of the roof panels. So there's not really a whole lot going on the roof, as honestly there shouldn't be a whole lot going on the roof. Alright, throwing a little extra light on this thing so you can see it a little bit better, but this is the B end of the car. This is the B end. Now this is a Katie number 5 operating magnetic knuckle coupler, and these cars would have shipped with Athearn's default plastic magnetic knuckle coupler. I'm drawing a blank on what they're called, but I call them crap. Calling it like I see it, y'all. They work, but they're definitely not the best. You can see a little bit better the separately applied. In the real world, this would be called a multi-part coupler cut lever. You can see a separately applied full height ladder here, and there is also one on this side of the car, a full height ladder on this side of the car. You can see the separately applied handbrake wheel, as well as the associated rod and chain, little brakeman's perch to stand on while you crank on that wheel. You have a separately applied grab iron right here, the walkway to get from one side, to cross over from one side of the car to the other, a waybill board also separately applied, and another half ladder right here, and of course you have the car number corresponding with the car number on the side of the car. The A end of the car looks identical to the B end, minus the handbrake wheel, brakeman perch up here, and associated hardware. Alright, looking at the underside of this car, you can see it has metal wheels, body mounted couplers. You can see the emergency and service reservoir here, the brake piston and cylinder here, and the air brake triple valve here. And you also have, I guess, a drain or something like that right here. These guys are fuel tanks for the refrigeration unit, the generator running the refrigeration unit. And you can see the associated air lines and fuel line, well, air lines for the air brake system. And this is the train line, which runs from here up to the triple valve and back out again right here. So a fairly decent amount of detail on this car. This car is, even though it's a 57-foot long car, it doesn't have any issues with these 18-inch radius curves on the Stars Hollow Railroad, nor does it have any issues with the Bachmann Easy Track switches.